The Australian Ultimate League is only possible thanks to the generous support of our major partners. Bendigo Private Banking Services. Visit their website bendigoprivate.com.au to help you manage all your personal or business banking needs. Discraft. The leaders in flying discs for over 25 years. Their Ultrastar is the preferred disc of all World Championship events and the Australian Ultimate League. And Zone Ultimate Custom Sports Apparel. Check out their new range of custom warm-up jackets and pants at zoneultimate.com.
Good evening to all of you Dragons diehards, Flames fanbase and all the Ultimate lovers. Claire Hussey here with Ewan Weimer bringing you this round 2 AUL game. What happened for Adelaide and Melbourne in round 1, Ewan?
Yeah, thanks very much, Hussey. Very exciting game here. Adelaide v Melbourne. Melbourne are coming off a convincing 13-9 win over Sydney, and they look well balanced using their whole team. We'll see youngsters Ruby Anderson and Tom Della for the first time, while stat machine Tom Regacki and defensive powerhouse Michaela Dignam sit out this one. Very even spread of goal scorers against Sydney, but speedster Brendan Ashcroft is the leader of the assist board at the moment, proving that he can hurt teams deep or under. Melbourne will look to utilise him downfield again. How did Adelaide go in their first game, Hussey?
Adelaide went down to the Brisbane Breakers. They went down 13-8, but obviously we saw some great stuff from them. We saw Shannon Bubb making that incredible save of a dying disc after that questionable, in my opinion, decision by Joel Piller-Rogers, sending that huck to a bit of a messy end zone. And Jonathan Warren White and Joel Piller-Rogers were Adelaide's only assist generators, throwing all of the goals. So maybe if Melbourne want to make life hard for them, they might look to shut those two down. Let's see how the coaches go.
So what are the main strengths of the other team?
Well, they definitely have a lot of experience on their side. There's a lot of kind of World Games player level. They've got, Tom Regacki. He's, probably the most experienced player still playing Ultimate, I'd say, in Australia at least. So, we'll definitely be aware of all of those strengths.
So what strategies do you guys have to shut down those strengths?
We'll be throwing a few different defensive looks at them just to disrupt their flow. We've got a lot of really good defenders on our team, so we plan to kind of play some hard match and then a few maybe tricky little zones to make it difficult for them. So yeah, that's our plan.
Talking about that hard match, do you have any specific matchups you want to do to shut down those players?
Not specifically. I guess, personally I'd love to see the Joel v Tom Regacki matchup. Those two have played together a lot and against each other a lot, and there's always a bit of fire between Adelaide and Melbourne. So yeah, it'll be good to see a little bit of that come out.
Know their style of play pretty well, like if you've played against them a few times?
Melbourne's style of play. Yeah, it's hard to know in the 6v6 format. It's a little bit different, but I imagine there's going to be some big plays. Both teams are quite tall, quite athletic, so I'm anticipating a lot of deep game. So yeah, that'll be fun to watch for sure.
So what would be a key message for your team ahead of this match?
Well, I think just stay focused and keep communicating. We keep the communication really high.
What are the main challenges you're going to face in this match?
Yeah, so I think Adelaide have a lot of really great throwers that really see space on the field very effectively. And we know they have a lot of players that have played for quite a while, experienced players that can spot where to run on the field for those key players. So we just want to make sure we are matching up on those throwers quite well and identify the receivers downfield.
Is that experience something you're worried about? Have you got a quite experienced team as well?
We have a bit of a mix. That's definitely something we're aware of, but we don't think it'll be too much of an issue if we play to our game plan. We think if we play effectively through all of our players, we should have a pretty good game.
Are there any key matchups that you're going to focus on in this game? Any specific players you really want to shut down?
Look, I think not any in particular, but we know Joel Pillar is a player that's been throwing very well for Adelaide for years, so that's someone we're aware of. And we know an up-and-coming player, Sean Davis, is another one that we'll get a match-up for. But we also know Mish Phillips is coming off an awesome campaign with Revolution, where she played very well, so that's another one we'll have an eye on.
So how are you going to aim to shut them down?
We think we've got depth across our roster, so we're going to play tight defense with particular players that we have, but we'll also be switching on them quite a bit so that we're shutting them down effectively in every direction.
Cool. And is there any weaknesses on the other team that you might be able to exploit?
Well, we think one of our strengths over most teams, and this team especially, is our depth. So we'll be looking on offense to play through every single one of our players, whoever's open, and likewise on defense, we'll be using those mismatches to try to get a block.
Great.
Great stuff from the coaches there. The Dragons coach feeling confident in their defensive goals, and Melbourne coach feeling pretty confident all round, I'd say. What do you reckon, Ewan?
Yeah, it'd be very good to see if there are any adjustments made now that the teams have both had one game to kind of sort out this 6v6 format. If we note who scored the goals for Adelaide in the first round, it was 5 goals scored by women and 3 by just one man, Lachlan Murphy. So I think the Flames will be taking note of that. They'll look to shut down Lachlan Murphy, and they have a very strong defensive lineup for the women. So I think Adelaide are really going to need to try and change the format of what they were doing in the last game to break Melbourne down. Melbourne, more generous spread of goal scorers, 5 women caught goals and 4 men. So perhaps a bit less predictability could help Adelaide to surprise Melbourne.
Yeah, sounds like they're going to need to mix it up, Adelaide. And Melbourne probably want to stick on with their generous spread of the disc and of who is doing what. They seem to be adjusting to the space on the field nicely and feeling comfortable getting it moving into whoever's hands are available. So the weather today is still very cold, and the wind has dropped somewhat, so I don't think that that's going to be a determining factor in this game. I think it's just going to be, who's going to get the blocks and who's going to be safe with their heads or no. I think there's a little bit of rain coming down, but I don't think it's enough to trouble anyone particularly. As they step out onto the field and start feeling the turf beneath their feet. These Dragons, only one of them bearded, set off with the first ball from Alex Britton-Jones. Melbourne getting moving very quickly, and Adelaide have got a zone on with a male cup up the front. Isherwood finds a layoff and Brendan Ashcroft slipping it through there to Wang. Gone with 2 men up front and 2 women behind and 1 male deep. Pretty effective at the moment, but Melbourne pretty calm and cutting it through whenever they can, slicing back. Phillips on the move here. Ashcroft trying to give instructions to his teammates where he wants it, and they've managed to cut through the cup. Bar. Isherwood looking to squeeze it in. They've squeezed it in front corner. Why not if it's available? Taking the goal on the board.
Yeah, that'll do the job. Melbourne Flames reasonably calm and collected with the disc in their hand there, but I think Adelaide would be satisfied that that D is maybe going to generate some blocks in the future. A lot of the Melbourne Flames players holding the disc on the windy side of the field for a long time. Didn't really look like easy flow, just the pure quality throwing that got them out of jail a couple of times there.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole point of a zone is to increase the number of throws for the opposition, so they definitely did that. It wasn't a, 3 or 4 throw point, so I think the Adelaide Dragons will be pleased with having slowed Melbourne Flames down that first point. Wise here with his trademark knee up before the pull, goes for a big outside in, taking...
almost took out the camera there.
Nearly taking the camera out. Taking advantage of the wind behind him. And Enting Hawk moves it up to Phil Rogers. Melbourne have gone with a match defence this time. Slipping it up the side, that was an opportunity for Ishwood to get a block, but didn't quite have the time to read it. And Phil Rogers has misinterpreted the situation, maybe thinking Middleton had eyes in the back of his head, and a quick turnaround for shot deep, and Della's got it on the outside of the end zone, waiting for someone to work it to, and he's plucked out Anderson. She gets herself on the board of the goal.
Yeah, the two rookies connecting there. Obviously both wanting to get on the stat sheet straight away. Lovely connection.
Can we turn that to rookie pass?
Yeah, Adelaide there a couple of times throwing to passes that were blockable in the lane, and then the second one kind of straight into the back of his own player.
Yeah, a bit of tunnel vision maybe on. Joel Pillett-Rogers had a plan, but his teammates weren't aware of it maybe. And I saw that Anderson took real advantage of that turnover. She pelted it straight to the end zone, and no one picked her up, or they didn't have the speed to stay with her maybe from her initial streak. So that was really well decided.
Melbourne with the early break, wise to pull again.
Enting Hawk to Pillett-Rogers again. Britton Jones. Working it with Murphy. 3 men at the back, and Pillett-Rogers has stuck it up, and Yu is under it and reads it very easily, unlike her opponents, who there were 2 Melbourne Flames there ready to make an attack on that block, but Yu was the only one that really read it and attacked it.
Yeah, Yu, great job from her there. A slightly speculative foot maybe, but Yu did a great job reading it. I think Flames would be a bit disappointed they didn't make more of a contest of that one.
Yeah, I don't know if they were maybe sort of maybe leaving it to the other person. Perhaps sometimes it's not clear who's got the right space for the bid, but you definitely knew that that frisbee was all hers, and she took it.
Yeah, maybe just players not being told the disc was up, looking in the wrong side, or turning the neck to the wrong side, looking for the disc. Being able to find it as a defensive player is key in being able to get in there and get those blocks.
Yeah, for sure. And we saw three male Adelaide handlers there, and 3 women upfield, so they've gone with that particular structure, which worked a treat. Got Phillips, Bart and Prentice working it at the back for Melbourne, and Adelaide have stuck on a zone, but this time with 3 women up front in the cup. Melbourne mixing up their throws, short throws, swings, not really very troubled right now, and it looks like Adelaide have gone to match defence now. Ishwood swing breaks to Bar, and there's been a pick. Just picks that up. Britton Jones on the mark. Another pick. Bar's given up on his stack and is going for the reset. Very sensible. And Isherwood. Bar again takes his comfortable break to Prentice. Also assessing her options and resets again. Bar with another break, this time in a round to Weatherall, who had tricked Bub by pushing her onto the open side and takes the easy break goal. I mean, there's not much you can do as a defender if the plan on defence has been broken, which it was there with that round break.
Yeah, Melbourne doing a good job just bouncing it around the end zone, waiting for the open thrower, not forcing it. A couple of times there was the quick little fake where someone, had to pull back to make sure they didn't just go for too much. Good class from the Flames there.
Yeah, so if you keep moving that frisbee, it's so hard as a defensive unit to keep an eye on the disc. You've got to decide: am I watching the player? Am I watching the disc? The best defenders can keep both in their peripheral vision, but the more the disc moves, especially laterally, the harder it is for the defense to keep covering as much as they can. Another big pull from Wise, makes it to the end zone. Enton Hawk, Pillar Rogers, and Dunwall coming in with an isolated opportunity. She's open again, but Pillar Rogers doesn't see her or chooses to go for the 1-2. Warren White's made off up the field, and Yu has found that isolated space again. Moves it forward pretty quickly. Dunmore wanting something upfield but doesn't get anything, and there's a pick. Slow them down. Really looking for that. They've gone out with an isolation plan, and it's working so far. They're just not getting that second stage going yet, but let's see what happens here. Dunmore keen to get it back into play. There's still discussion going on there, so.
Egan Griffiths marking Pillar Rogers around the discs. Going to be interesting to see if she can shut him down, so that there's a few extra pressure upfield.
Oh, and Pillar Rogers goes around for that goal to Murphy.
Yeah, it might have been interesting to see if Egan Griffiths could have actually just ran with Pillar Rogers there. It was unfortunately the switch that undid them. Pillar Rogers able to come back into space, just had a few seconds of no one marking him. That's enough to get the break.
So it's 3-2 to Adelaide. Melbourne have got a break on the board.
Very importantly, an upwind break as well. All the goals from then on downwind. So we'll see if Adelaide can get a turn here and go upwind.
I've been pretty impressed with pull reception generally across all the teams in the league so far. I mean, you'd expect it from the top level teams, and it's really important. Here's another look at it. So one person designated to catching, someone there to take the next pass. You don't want to be stuck at the back of the end zone if you can help it. Melbourne demonstrating that really well here, and Adelaide have chopped on another zone with the female cup. Melbourne have pretty quickly moved it well over halfway, or around halfway, approaching the brick mark. They're pushing through it pretty effectively. Isherwood, Ashcroft, Bar, goal, Prentice. Not very challenged by that, I'd say.
Yeah, interesting look, that one. I love that Adelaide have been mixing up the zone looks there and keeping Melbourne on their toes, but it did seem like maybe the men up front was generating a bit more pressure around the disc. that look maybe just not quite tight enough around that disc to stop those 5 metre passes for Melbourne just to march it up the field.
Yeah, it seemed easy to break through, but then also behind that cup, I'm not sure who the defenders were taking, or I mean they're probably taking space, but Prentice was in a world of space herself, and maybe that's a symptom of the 6-on-6 structure. We have a lot more space available, and so zones are just naturally going to be harder to execute well, I think. Adelaide Dragons back on offense with the Joel Pillar-Rogers and familiar sight of Warren White. So you getting in there, getting some small throws, and Pillar-Rogers has gone for an inside look to Lachlan Murphy, which has come off well. Maybe there was a risk of a block there, but he slotted that through. Like the sort of throw that Joel Pillar-Rogers would be feeling nice about.
Absolutely. That one's come out of the hand perfectly. Definitely a much smaller window there than some of the other goals we've seen, but yeah, when you've got throws like that, why not?
Talking of potential blocks, there haven't been any so far, I don't think. We've had a turnover from Adelaide, which resulted in the break for 2-0 for Melbourne, but I can't recall a block so far in this game, so I think it's all out there. The team that will get the block will take the game.
Yeah, I feel like Melbourne may be looking to generate blocks through throwing people into the lane, people flashing into the lane. It's just sporadically. Adelaide going for blocks more through trying different structures.
Mm-hmm. Phillips, Ashcroft, and Barr, these three would know each other well from World Games, Australian World Games team. Oh, a cold drop from Phillips. And Adelaide are going to look to take advantage of this as quickly as they can. Pillar-Rogers to Bretton Jones, who sticks one to a contest, and Middleton's up and down in a flash. Isherwood doesn't have to do much to get that block. Middleton was keen to try and sky Isherwood, but timed it slightly incorrectly. And Melbourne are back with the disc in their hands. That was going to be a fine opportunity for Adelaide, but they've thrown it away. And Ashcroft has somehow found Phillips, who must have felt that disc coming towards her. She turned around just in time to keep it alive. Isherwood and Prentice working at the back. Adelaide a match at the moment. And Barr has stuck one deep to a casually catching Prentice for another goal. Melbourne 5, Adelaide 3.
Really good offense the second go round, but I don't really love that look from Adelaide. What do you think? You've been given a gift of a block in midfield, and it seemed like maybe it was a more huck and hope rather than really trying to work that one into the end zone.
Yeah, I think that was the case of, we've got an opportunity now, let's take it, and it was the wrong decision to stick it right then, because it was a contest, it wasn't a clear option, so I think Adelaide could have been a bit more comfortable in their disc skills and worked it up. They've possibly wasted a rare opportunity. Well, definitely wasted a rare opportunity, but this could have possibly cost them the chance to stay close. And Pillar Rogers, disc back in hand, has gone for the immediate punt to a running U, who lays it off to Murphy. And Murphy finds U again, who lays out for safety reasons, I would imagine, making sure that she's got that one in her hands and lands in.
Yeah, that's why she's the #1 draft pick. That was, blistering speed and very safe hands.
It's probably one of the quicker points we've seen.
Yeah. Again, Pillar Rogers looking early for the huck. I think the wind is not as strong in this game as it can be down at Docklands, but definitely still a presence. And it's a tough situation. The wind is making it more difficult for your throwers, but you have to have trust in your team to be able to work it both upwind and downwind if you want to come away with the win in these games, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Those downwind hucks can be quite tricky. You've got to keep enough air under the disc for it to stay up long enough for your speedsters to get onto it, and feel an easy option to just ping those, but you've got to time it well so that they've got enough time to get onto the speeding disc. Bar to Isherwood, they've made it to halfway again very quickly, and a very nice cross-field slice to Rosa Wang.
Yeah, very quickly moving it up the strong side of the field there, and then getting ahead of the zone, I think, and then the cross-field throw, very quickly breaking the D down.
Yeah, it was almost like there wasn't another team there, really. I mean, they worked it right the way around the edge of them, and I don't feel like an Adelaide player got close to stopping any of those throws. I think they might need to maybe go back to a different zone plan, or maybe go to match, but Melbourne felt very comfortable there. Or
just lift the defensive intensity here. It definitely looks like they maybe Adelaide just not quite at the right level to start generating blocks here.
Yeah, definitely need a bit of energy from Adelaide to make a change to this game. Otherwise, it's just going to trade out like this. Dunmore makes a little pass to Pillar Rogers, the ever-present Pillar Rogers around the disc. Finds Warren White, and Dunmore, who bobbles but manages to keep it in her hands. What a relief for her.
Wow, yes, spectacular. Yes, she looked very surprised for a moment there, but manages to bring it back in.
keeping the score close. Adelaide Dragons answer with another quick goal.
Yeah, and offensively, after those first 2 points where maybe they just were figuring the wind out, or like it's quite cold out there, just working their way into the game, they have looked good on offense, and Melbourne not generating as much pressure as they were before. But it's on defense that they really need to lift now, so we need to see a bit more energy in the gym from Adelaide here going upwind.
Yeah, and it's not that Melbourne's defense is perhaps any better. I mean, both teams are scoring relatively easily, but Melbourne have just got that break, so it's up to Adelaide now, really. Melbourne haven't made any blocks. There was that Isherwood block off the dodgy Adelaide huck, but they haven't made any sort of go-get-you blocks either. So this is a game of offense at the moment. And we've got a roller pull. Goes out the side, which will be handy for Adelaide. They can set whatever defence they're going with, which it looks like match. It is match with you on Bar. Bar goes for the immediate put and finds Phillips, who started that cut from 6 or 8 meters away from bar. She just headed straight deep, and Rossler had no chance. She was doing her job marking under. Cat goes deep. Bar sticks it up.
And in the wind, you know, you have to trust that you might get a sniff if the throw's not perfect. And got to make sure you take away those unders, but that was just an absolutely perfect throw by Seb Bar there.
Yeah, and I think that's half right there. So there's going to be a lot of thinking to do for Adelaide and the coaches, trying to figure out how they're going to get some blocks and get back into the game. I mean, they're in the game, but turn this game around.
Yeah, Melbourne absolutely still in this game. They've scored their last 5 offensive points, and look, if I was Adelaide, I would not be going into halftime discouraged or disappointed. They've had 1 throwaway on offense on their first offensive point, and since then they've been 100% clean. As you see, they're both teams having a fantastic completion rate. 96% for Adelaide and 99% for Melbourne, almost running a perfect offensive first half. How do you see things, Hussey?
Yeah, it's a great display of quality offense for sure. You want your completion rate to be well over 90, and they're comfortably sitting up there. Like we've been saying, one of these teams needs to start getting some more blocks. We've only got the 1 block on the table, and that's in Melbourne's court, and they're winning. Blocks, it's block time. You know, lovely offense keeps you in a game, but if the other team is also matching your lovely offense, then you're not going to win necessarily.
And I think defensive offense is going to be critical for the team that's going to come away with this one. So we saw Melbourne got a good shot at the disc in midfield early on their D unit, and they straight away punched it in downwind. Adelaide also had a good look at a break going upwind this time, a much harder throw, and not able to make the completion. I think they'll want to make sure that they back their defensive offense in to get them these breaks that they need to win the game.
Yeah, that offense on that turnover it didn't have the same composure that their offense has had the rest of the time. I guess it's kind of, maybe it came as a bit of a surprise. It was the first time they had faced a turnover, so they chucked it away. But at this point, I think what would be lovely to do is shout out to Dent Revolution. Dent Revolution are a card dent removal company in Adelaide, and they are sponsoring the Adelaide Dragons throughout the Australian Ultimate League. So if you're stuck in Adelaide with a dent in your car, get it removed at Dent Revolution. And that takes us through to second half. Lockie Wires back out there with his knifing pull, which has just missed being an incredible back of the end zone pull. Ending hook brings it back up nice and swiftly to the front of the end zone to get this half going. Anderson on the mark. Pillar Rogers, who has seen a lot of the disc, as he always does, finds Bub, and Pillar Rogers has, continued to dominate the disc in this game like he has in the previous game, and I wonder if maybe spreading the disc around might help Adelaide a bit as he throws it away there. I'm not sure what he was looking for, but Melbourne have now got an opportunity to get another break.
Yeah, Pillar Rogers being marked by Egan Griffiths on that last offensive point, and allowing Isherwood to kind of roam downfield.
Oh, and Wise has sort of responded with another, I would say, interesting decision on that huck. It's paid off for him. Della has caught that goal, and subsequently
Yeah,
injured
looks
himself
like he
in the
might
celebration.
have hurt his knee there, which is a bit of a worry. He's had a history of knee issues, so he will be a bit worried that he's done himself mischief there again.
Della was an under-24 mixed player. Is that right?
Yep, loves the Blue Bottles. I'm sure he would love if we gave a big shout out to all the Blue Bottles out there.
Well, hopefully he'll be all right for the rest of the game. And a timeout has been called, maybe by Melbourne, to give him a chance to sort his knee out. So that was interesting. We had a point there with a turnover and another, well, the first probably dodgy huck from Melbourne, I would say. Wise just deciding to stick that one. I'm not really sure if he had someone in mind, but there were lots of players under that disc, and it happened to be misread, and Della kind of cleaned up the scraps there. So after we've just been saying how clean the offense has been, I wonder if maybe everyone's a bit relaxed and have just decided to go with their own flow.
Yeah, I think Della also did a good job getting his body in the way there, boxing out the Adelaide defender, so he could just easily catch the disc as it floated into the ground.
Melbourne push on. That's another early break for them. They made a break at the start of the first half, and now a break at the start of the second half. This could make this an uphill battle for Adelaide now. Let's see what they've got. They've got their male handlers, moved it up to Lachlan Murphy. Pilla Rogers making himself available for a dump and getting central again. Pilla Rogers getting the disc every other throw and has an easy open option back to Murphy. Adelaide back in the game.
Yeah, great defensive bid there, but Lachlan Murphy just too quick to the breakside cone, and a great flat backhand by Pilla Rogers for the score. I think that's what we want to see more of from Adelaide. It's not the fact that it is not a long look. That was still a 30-meter throw to take advantage of, and generate a goal. But keeping the throws low and safe will be critical to them punching the rest of their offense points in.
Yeah, the Adelaide Dragons keeping the disc moving a bit more laterally there, I think helped confuse the Melbourne defence and made a few more open options come quickly. Britton Jones with the roller pull again, locking the Melbourne Flames on the sideline.
I love this roller pull on a windy day. Get your defense set up make the offense throw from the hard side of the field. You've got to make it harder than that for them to get off the sideline. That's where you want the offense to be. You've got to lock it in that situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you're confident with your pulls that they can hit the ground near the sideline and roll out, then why wouldn't you do that every time? Ashcroft. Big swing and a lay bid from you, just missing out on that turn. Wang to Bar to Ashcroft. And he's thrown a low rising one to Prentice, who looks semi-surprised that she received that, but very safely caught. And we're seeing another assist by the Melbourne men. We've seen over the league so far, or one round of it, that the men are really leading on the assist stat board. We'll see that there's 51 assists in round 1 were thrown by men, and only 13 assists were thrown by women, whereas goal catching was a lot more even, but women were leading, so women had 35 goals caught, whereas men only 30. I wonder if this is a symptom of maybe women finding the space deep, like that's where they're being given the space by the men. Maybe it's a structural thing, and maybe the men have been given the handling roles a bit more in this league. I mean, we have gender equality in terms of numbers on the field, but we're not yet seeing equity in terms of goals assisted. And Pillar Rogers just stuck one which was not completed. It was a bit of a specky one to Dunmore, picked up by Ashcroft, and Melbourne are back on the offensive run, moving that disc fast, stalled slightly now. Adelaide setting their match defence. And a big stick finds Ashcroft on the outside of the end zone, marked by Dunmore. And a 1-2 with Isherwood.
Great speed there by Ashcroft. Really love the rest of the offensive unit giving him the space to work in that close quarters. You could see Pillar Rogers trying to get desperately across into that space to try and generate a turn, but it just all happened a bit too quick for him. And a lovely put by Wise there, almost the full length of the field upwind.
Yeah, a bit disappointing from the Adelaide offense before. They just stuck one a little bit speculatively maybe, and they've wasted another chance to stay close. And Melbourne have got a 4-point lead now.
Yeah, interesting that Pillar Rogers chose to air that one out so quickly. Plenty of time, he was in the middle of the field, but obviously a set play to have Dunmore go deep. And we have, as you said earlier, we have been seeing the women scoring a lot of the goals so far, and Dunmore an excellent receiver, so I can totally understand why you would choose her, but Ashcroft able to read the play and peel off the back to generate the turn.
Yeah, I guess that's something that you traditionally see in 7-on-7 mixed ultimate. A lot of peeling off of male players to cover any kind of hucks to women's often. But I feel like that hasn't happened quite as much in the 6-on-6 format due to the extra ground that people have to cover. But yeah, Ashcroft's speed kind of paying off there in this particular instance, and I think that the decision making's got to be questioned, and the players really have to take control of these decisions and opportunities, especially when you're down in a game.
Yeah, if you're holding the disc in the middle of the field, that's a big responsibility, but here at the elite level, you have got to make sure that your throws are 99% is what is going to win games, 99% throws, and unfortunately that isn't what we've been seeing so far from Adelaide. Sometimes, only just on some occasions. There's been some sparkling offense in patches as well, but now they've put themselves in a bit of a hole. They're going to have to really get the D-line rolling to get back into this one.
Yeah, the ebbs and flows of a game of ultimate. The first half was pretty clean, but it's hard to maintain that sort of safety for an entire game, and that's what sets some teams apart from others. Enting Hawk digging out of the back of the end zone. We're still not quite out, and Britton Jones finds his way out of the end zone to Murphy. Dunmore.
It's looking a lot better from Adelaide, moving it up the sideline.
Yep, and Bub sticks one. Ooh, maybe she wanted that to go a bit further, but it fell short, and we've got an immediate response, which is not completed. That's that throwing away downwind option. You've really got to sit those up, and it was a good look, but it just wasn't quite the throw.
You could see there Evans in plenty of space, and I think probably that throw was on there, but the wind just catching it and pushing it down as it ran into the end zone away from Evans.
Adelaide's team name is the Adelaide Dragons, and dragons they're not the mythical creature that you hear about in mythology. Dragons are actually reptiles. I think they have a bearded dragon in South Australia, which is what the dragons must be named after. So I wonder if this team can puff their beards out and start asserting themselves in the second half. They're doing well getting it out of the end zone here. Dunwall's got the disc, quite a lot of players surrounding her.
And a massive layout block by Isherwood, but maybe even stealing the block from Wang there. Congratulations if you picked Isherwood on your fantasy team.
And commiserations if you picked Wang, who clearly would have had that block had Isherwood not been so greedy. And Wise getting the disc back into play for Melbourne. Egan Griffiths back to Wise. Wise holding on there. Probably get it moving early. He's got it moving now. Egan Griffiths being very active at the moment, wanting the disc every other throw. Isherwood weighing up his options and finds another Wise coming under. He throws a backhand where one might have expected a flick. Wang. Melbourne really getting that disc moving through a lot of players, and Wise is blown away. He indicated for some of the players to come under to make space, but the defenders stayed there, and he just tossed one up over the top of a pack of players.
Yeah, not quite sure where he was wanting that one to land, but yeah, just ended up being a bit of a jump ball, and unfortunately the turn.
Adelaide's got an opportunity now, try and get things back on their side. Bub. Pillar Rogers. Sticks one. Bit of a box out from Murphy. Worked. Wise lost track of the disc. Prioritised getting that mark on. Britton Jones directing his players with communication that we were hearing from Hurd earlier, coach. Oh, and just misfires to Pillar Rogers, who's maybe getting to a high stall count there, and he dug it out when he could. Should probably look to move it a little bit more simply earlier. Probably one of the longest points we've seen so far this game. A couple of turnovers.
Yeah, maybe a bit of fatigue starting to set in here. A couple of options which maybe weren't quite on, as we see a massive block from it's Enting Hawk. That was a great layout bid on Wang. They've now got a great opportunity just out front of the end zone to score one upwind.
And completed through Bub. Calm as you like. Yeah, that was on the edge of the vision, but it was a massive block from Enting Hawk.
Yeah, and that is a real confidence booster for Adelaide. An upwind score, generating turns. That's what they need to do to get back in and level this game up. Love to see some more of that.
Yeah, that's the first big block we've seen. I mean, there was Isherwood's stolen block, but that was kind of a throw into a bit of a mess, but this was a real clean strike through on that undercut from Enting Hawk. Love seeing that athleticism popping out just when her team needs it. Wind's picking up a bit now, and the rain's still with us, sticking onto the lens, and no doubt sticking on the frisbee, hopefully not making too many difficult catches, but something that both the teams will need to keep an eye on, watching the disc into their hands.
I think we will have seen the last of the 99% completion rate. It's wet, it's cold, it's windy, it's going to be a bit of a grind for these last couple of points, but I think that's exactly what Adelaide need to maybe shake up the Melbourne offense a bit.
Bar looking to get it off the line quickly, finds Ashcroft, marked by McDonald, normally a big block getter. Maybe he'll come up with something soon. And Phillips finds Wetherall, lays it off to Ashcroft. We've got the fast moving disc from Melbourne, but we've also got a big hand block. Warren White, or a foot block maybe, a foot block from Warren White against Barr, and Adelaide have the disc back. That was a bit of alright, wasn't it?
A huge foot block there, and now airing it out to
Middleton. Alex Pillar-Rogers finds her huck to Middleton, and Middleton waiting for a good option, looking for the goal, feeling like he should lay it off, but he's gone for the glory and failed.
I feel high store count there, couple of cuts into the front corner which were well marked, and not able to get a dump look happening in time. That's a real shame, because that was a massive block by Warren White, and it deserved a goal, I reckon.
Yeah, massive block, and then a beautiful stick from Alex Pillar-Rogers, and we're seeing that that hot-headed Adelaide offense after a turn. Maybe for the next game, they need to really work on that. That transition from defence to offence. Melbourne back on O now. Oh, we've stuck one up. We've got Ashcroft looking for Barr, but Adelaide have gotten in there and made sure that's not a completion. Warren White. Pillar-Rogers finds the front corner, and Middleton towed that one in right on the edge of the zone. Adelaide 8-10.
Yeah, and Britton Jones there running on to congratulate. You can see the Adelaide team, they are up and about now. This is great stuff. Two really good defensive efforts. That will maybe slip in the Melbourne consciousness a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit more wind and a bit more weather, and I feel like Melbourne are not quite as comfortable and calm as they have been, and this is probably what Adelaide have wanted. They do have confidence in defence, but I think they need a little bit of help in the weather, and they've got it now, so look and go.
I think the Adelaide team wants a scrap. They want to grind this out, and for now it looks like that's what we're in. We're in a scrap. So Melbourne really going to want to try and calm this down and just punch in a nice, calm offensive point here. Shame that first pull gone out of bounds this game, so looks like...
I think there was another pull out of bounds at the back from Melbourne earlier. No? Okay, first pull out of bounds. Prentice. Ooh! Just doesn't complete there to Ashcroft. And Adelaide have got another chance. Dunmore is thrown to the unexpected side of Entinghawk, and Melbourne straight back in, whipped out of the air by Prentice just in time, and then fouled. Foul on the throw by Entinghawk, uncontested. Quickly resolved, and we get back in. Prentice lays it off to Phillips. Isherwood. lays it off, looks for the 1-2, it's not happening. Phillips is getting the disc back centrally. Ashcroft's found Barr, and another break from Barr to a zipping Ashcroft. Melbourne respond 11-8.
So much speed there, Ashcroft. So hard to contain. You can see if he beats you to that break side of the field and a great throw like Barr has a look, that is 99 times that's going to be a goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's enough of a job to protect the open side with Ashcroft, but if you're competing against a break throw at the same time, it's tough times. That's where I feel maybe Adelaide would be using a zone, but you know, it wasn't really paying off for them in the first half. Though their first look at a zone in the first point was not too bad. They changed the structure of it from the men up front in the cup to women up front in the cup, and it didn't go so well. And now they seem to have abandoned it and gone with the match defense, which, I mean, it has generated. There have been a few turns this half so far, so it's definitely not the smooth flowing offense of the first half.
Yeah, and potentially a little momentum shift there with Adelaide having a good shot, a good look at the middle of the field, and kind of giving the disc back without a huge amount of pressure. That released the pressure valve a little bit there.
Bella Rogers has sent a very low, long throw, which Lachlan Murphy managed to catch at the last second, and we found a goal through you. That was quite the grab.
Oh, spectacular stuff there from Murphy and you. You doing a great job boxing out there and then attacking the disc at the last moment, and Murphy just getting huge and horizontal.
Yeah, Adelaide doing well when they managed to isolate someone. Bit of a classic Adelaide trick seen a lot in the Zig Theory team, the women's team out of Adelaide. They've used a lot of isolations on their players with great throwers and, you know, speedy middle of the field players. Works a treat, and I think we've seen a couple of really effective offensive runs through isolating players with space.
A nice shot of Middleton there. I think he looks hungry for a block. It's definitely time for the D-line to start rolling for Adelaide.
There's our roller. Doesn't make it quite as far, but it's still trapped on the sideline. Bar finds Prentice. A bit of a straight up night from Adelaide. Big swing to Phillips. And up the liner. Pulled down. read really well by Weatherall with the oncoming Rosler just missing out on that D there.
Great grab by Weatherall, going up strong, grabbing it with one hand, and lovely backhand down the line by Barr.
Yeah, the Melbourne offense going from one side of the field straight to the other and straight up the line, just taking the free options as they come up, and it really working out for them.
Yeah, it was interesting there. Adelaide got the disc on the windy sideline, but the Force looking to, I think, stop the up the line throw and looking to stop the upfield throw more than trap on the sideline. So maybe just the extra space there is out on the field, wanting to make Melbourne try and throw those long shots rather than walk it in 10 to 20 metre passes.
Going into game point here with Wise making another big pull. See if Pillar Rogers has got another big shot on him. Finds Alex Pillar Rogers. Bring Jones back to Pillar Rogers. and Pillar Rogers has stuck it deep and finds you again.
Yu has been absolutely dominant in the end zone all day. Look, they're behind on the scoreboard at the moment, but there are a lot of positives to take out of this game so far for Adelaide, and Salah Yu's definitely one of them.
That's right, it seems like if she's anywhere near the end zone and the disc goes somewhere towards it, she'll most likely come down with it. So perhaps they should work through that strategy to dig out the rest of this game. For now though, they've got to get a block, force a turn somehow, keep this game alive.
Melbourne going to have 3 shots at it if they need. Adelaide needing to generate 3 blocks and goals to win. Game to 13, so the pressure's on now.
Big Bub's on the line, and she's had a lot of experience in the USA. She's got 7 USAU club nationals under her belt, and she's also won a college USAU nationals. And we just saw that pool sail back completely, losing so many yards. Melbourne straight back in here. This is knocking on the door of the game. That is not the time you want your ball to come back at you. And Barr slotted one in with a bit of a lefty.
Oh,
Thrown a lefty for the goal to
Phillips just grabbing it before, I think it was Pillar Rogers there coming across to potentially try and sneak it D. But yeah, that disc just floating for a long time, managing to snaffle it for the win.
Yeah, interesting. The first time we've seen a pool do that in the whole game, and it was probably not probably the worst time it could happen,
Inopportune
really.
time, unfortunately.
But Melbourne have got their second win, and Adelaide still looking for their first. But that was a great game of offensive brilliance for the most part. It did deteriorate later in the game, but
much stronger showing from Adelaide. I think that game, plenty of positives to take out of it. Some huge blocks that they generated, and at times some really very pretty offense as well. And just a few moments of kind of concentration lapses potentially gave Melbourne the window they needed, and they managed to put this game away.
That's right. I hope you've enjoyed the game. I've been Claire Hussey and been here with Ewan Weimer. Tune in for the next game coming up in the next few days.
The Australian Ultimate League is only possible thanks to the generous support of our major partners. Bendigo Private Banking Services. Visit their website bendigoprivate.com.au to help you manage all your personal or business banking needs. Discraft. The leaders in flying discs for over 25 years. Their Ultrastar is the preferred disc of all World Championship events and the Australian Ultimate League. And Zone Ultimate Custom Sports Apparel. Check out their new range of custom warm-up jackets and pants at zoneultimate.com.